you go. That was a trailer for Dragon Eats Eagle, available right now on digital. After you're done with this interview, or if you want to pause, go over there, go to the streaming services, download it, purchase it, support my man Noah Marks and Dragon Eats Eagle, and then come back here because we're going to talk all of the things with Noah Marks. Y'all ready? Here we go. I'll bring him up on the screen. There you go. Noah Marks, writer, director, and a little bit of a star, if I'm not mistaken, if I saw correctly when I was watching this. You had a little cameo.
Yeah, that's it. I play one character. And it's probably the worst acting in the thing. But
stop playing. There you go. We got to big up this guy. We got to big up. All right, y'all. It's Noah Marks. I'm going to shoot off air horns right now. No, you're not going to hear it. It's going to be in post. But we celebrate everybody we bring on. Thank you, man. Thank you for your time today to talk all about this project.
Of course. Thank you for having me on. This is like my first real interview ever. I'm ecstatic. It's definitely really cool.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. I'm honored. You're in good company, man. There's been Denzel Washington, who I started off the year with, William Shatner. I've had quite a few people. So, hey, it's awesome to bring on a new talent that will be in those names down the road. I'm sure.
No doubt about it.
Let's make that happen. All right, Noah Marks, man. Tell me about how this whole spawn of an idea, this little worm got into your brain, Dragon Eats Eagle. I'm sure you were going to school, from what I saw in my notes, at University of Maryland. You can't help but get some kind of a vibe and energy from living in this area, because I've seen a little bit of the film. I haven't finished it. I got, I think, like 20 minutes left to watch it, so don't worry about it. But it's talking about some things, especially if you live in this DC area. So tell me how this germ happened and what made you put fingers to keyboard or pen to pad.
Yeah, so that's, first of all, the funny thing is that I never wanted to make I love like comedy films, but I never wanted to make a political satire, totally. I've always been like super drawn to sci-fi, fantasy, like Lord of the Rings, Pirates of the Caribbean. Like I die for those things, right? And so, but I had a family friend, a quite eccentric fellow, come to me, and he gave me this idea that was super low-hanging fruit, like, make a movie about, COVID and what's going on right now. And I was like, I don't want to do that. That just sounds so boring. Nobody wants to see that stuff. And then I watched a movie later after that, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead, with Gary Oldman and Tim Roth. And it was about these two nincompoops, basically, in like the grandiose play of Hamlet, but they're the characters that nobody really gives a shit about, in a way. And so I was like, hold on, that's funny. So we got these two nincompoops who are running around Washington, D.C., taking absurd orders from all of these crazy people, the Madam Evergreen, Hillary Clinton, Mr. President, the Fat Man, Donald Trump, and like all of these weird, grandiose kind of chess pieces. And I just saw the movie when I saw the two characters as being like a buddy comedy. And that was it. And then I just started writing and just having fun with it.
Wow. So how long did it take you to go from like germ to completion of like script one, maybe?
Script one was weird, and it was not what you see now. Script one was super, super like goofy. Like the whole thing was just like overly goofy. And I was talking to like the financier of the project, and he goes, "Could we do a little bit more highbrow?" And I was like, "I guess so." So I started to read a ton about, like just economics and history, and that's where the whole immortal thing came into the characters. But yeah, I would say it took about 6 months to finalize a script, from like the first pen to paper to finally being like, oh, we have to shoot this now or else we're going to lose traction.
Wow. Well, hold up. Let me rewind. Let's not gloss over you as a young filmmaker. Script one, you had a financier already on board and the script isn't even completed. Let's take me back there.
So this wasn't my first feature film. This is actually my fourth feature film. And okay. I never went to film school. I was a finance major at the University of Maryland. And I was kind of just a monkey with a camera. And senior year of college, I got all my boys together and we made a movie called My Brothers and Friends. And I love that movie with all my heart. Sure, it's pretty amateur, but so, I'm not even going to put it down. I love it. The amateurness works for it. And it totally, it's fucking great. I loved My Brothers and Friends. And so I did two more after that. And so I consider those my film school. This
Okay.
one, I kind of, started to gather a little bit of traction with, people with money who could spend it and like were looking to invest it. And also people who are looking to, help out somebody who's young and passionate. And luckily, I'm young and passionate, and I hope to stay passionate, and I hope to remain young. But who knows how that goes. And so I had somebody who was really interested in working with me. He is an insane human being, and he said, "Listen, I'll put X down if you can put Y out." And so that's kind of how it went.
Let's go. Props to you, dude, because that's half the battle. I'll say, as a filmmaker that's been in this business over 20 plus years, that's amazing. You love to see it. Congrats.
I feel super lucky, unbelievably lucky, because that's what everyone says. And so sometimes it's right place, right time. And that's, for me, just the definition of luck, right? It's just right place.
There we go. Well, congrats, brother.
Thank you.
You put this film together, and again, one of the things. Well, let's talk about some of the contents. You got inspired by things happening in the world, right? The pandemic, all of these things. Not your forte. You rather do like some sci-fi, like you said. And you had fun with your previous film. Why dive into religion and politics when that's the one thing that we all get warned about that is just scary to do? But you did it in a comedic fashion, which, maybe that helps with that a little bit. Can you talk to me about that and just some of the notes maybe you were getting on that script? And like you said, you had to adapt it a little bit from, the financier guy. Talk to me just about, putting this all together.
Okay. So basically I would like kind of just sit, and I would read a ton about what was going on now and what has gone on in history. And history always repeats itself. And that's it. And I wish it didn't, and it doesn't have to, but it does. And the reason that kind of embodies that in a way is the two main characters who are immortal and have been around since the dawn of man. And since the dawn of man, there has always been greed, there's always been power, there's always been loyalty, there's been all these things. And so we got these two guys who are very complacent in their time periods now. And you would imagine that living that long, you would become complacent. You would kind of become lazy and just be able, if you guys are like roommates for eternity, you guys wouldn't be afraid to, butt heads and, give each other shit every now and again. And so I was basically like, all right, we're going to have two immortal, college roommates who have seen everything. And when you see everything, you're not surprised anymore. And it's in them playing everything so straight. And like everything is okay. They don't even see the absurdity of what's going on anymore. And a lot of people in life that I see now don't either, where, a lot of people know a lot of things, and the more that you're hit with, the more numb you become to it. And it's that sense of like self-protection you put on, that ignorance to it is like it's like a protective barrier. It's like a defense mechanism. And people shouldn't be afraid to try to, go out of their way to see the absurdity in things, because that's how great change comes and great ideas come and innovation and things along that. So I don't know. I just kind of felt like the two main characters are flawed in very huge ways, but kind of ways that I am and a lot of people I know are. And, it's important to understand your downfalls so you can go up. I don't know.
No, I completely agree. And I love that. I think, man, I would love to have a sit down conversation with you even longer, because I really like the way these characters think and just everything you just said. So, but with that being so kind of having, when we have these thoughts and we're putting that onto pad and we're putting that into our material, what was that feedback from everybody else? That's what I'm also curious on, because I'm so old now, I don't give a fuck. I give two fucks what anybody else thinks. This is what I want to say with my material, whether it entertains you, educates you, or pisses you off in a way. Fuck it, let's go. Tell me, what was that like for you doing a project like this that I'm sure is gonna piss some people off?
Totally. Okay, so I always try to base it, not for the comedy is comedy in a way because it's dry, right? It's like kind of drier humor. And, there's like a line where there's like a line where like Vespasian, who was like a Greek Roman emperor, who like the two main characters were around, and like they're just having a chit chat, and the other one thinks that he killed Vespasian, the emperor who died, and he's like, no, like it was the diarrhea that got him. It was the absurdity in like what he said, but it is still fact. And so as long as I remained towards fact, I knew that anybody getting pissed off about an unopinionated piece of information, it was kind of like irrelevant to me. I make fun of not only the donkey, or not the donkeys, the Democrats and Republicans, the what is it now? It was donkeys and elephants, because that's what it is. It's beavers and raccoons, and I make fun of both. When I say that, the Republicans, have been funding something called the Bradley Fighting Vehicle for like 20 years now. They put like $19 billion into it, and they still don't have like a working vehicle for it. And it was just having these actual facts that if somebody was offended, like, you can't say that about them. I'm like, well, you can't say that the sky isn't blue, but if you look up, it is. You know what I mean?
Let's go.
So I knew as long as I did my research, I kind of had the upper hand on someone who was offended by it. So I don't know. Just do your, if you read, if you look at the sky and it's blue, it might be.
I love that. All right. In regards to research, as a writer myself as well, like, was that part of the fun for you as well? Did you like the research? And like you said, it took you, I think you said 5 months or 6 months for idea for script one. Talk to me about that process, and also for those young filmmakers that are also watching this, because I have a lot of that as well. From you to them, what you learned, maybe some pro tips of what you did and helped you along the way of putting this script together.
Totally. Big thing for me is when I'm writing a movie, I don't watch any. I don't watch anything, actually. I watch a lot of like YouTube, and I read a lot. Like I would even have, like, my girlfriend would say, well, let's go like see this movie or something. And I'll be like, listen, I don't want to be like hypnotized by something they did amazing, because then I'm going to come back and be like, I want to do something that they did. I want to keep it natural. I want to keep it real and authentic to me. And so I kind of stay away from that. But instead of like literally avoiding the medium that I want to create, I seek out the mediums that could do other things. So I went to Goodwill, and I got like 100 books. I got books on like art history, which is where like I learned about the Vespasian dying from a fever. He did shit himself to death though. And then, I learned I just started to read a ton. And I would just take notes on like one thing, and I'd be like, okay, let's save this note, and then we're going to come back to that. And then you can draw parallels. And then at one point, in Always Sunny in Philadelphia, like the Charlie Day, when he's doing all that stuff, people would come in, and I'll be like, but you don't see the connection between the Clintons and the thing. And so, yeah, it for me, it's just avoiding the medium I want to create and seeking out the ones that I don't, and be inspired by those. Because I know a lot of like filmmakers my age too, they're like, they'll watch movies all day long, and that's incredible. But when you learn about movies, it's almost like making movies about movies. Like, making movies about movies is great because there's a ton to learn about that. But like, when every movie, like the new Damien Chazelle movie, Babylon, that's about making movies. Once Upon a Time, about making movies. All the big movies now are about making movies. But it's all because people are learning about movies when they're trying to make movies. But if you learn about life and then bring them into the medium that's already so natural for you, it makes it, I don't know. It's like rappers who rap about how good they are at rapping. You know what I mean? Like that's how I see it. Like, my rhymes are so crazy. I was like, I bet they're crazy. But what if you rapped about something else?
I feel that. Oh man, I love the craft. Talking about the craft, because I'm into this, and so
and everyone has their own thing.
I see that in your scripts of what you put together. Like, I felt somewhat dumb. I'm not gonna lie. Like, these characters are very smart, and I want to talk about when we get into the production aspect of things. But now I see how well written this was. So congrats to you on that, man, because you put in the work. You put in that effort. Props to you.
Thank you so much. And by the way, the actors, every actor in this, it's a team sport. And like, a lot of the times I felt like the worst player, It like the actor, like a great actor can like hide a bad like director in a way, which like, first of all, I'm a young director. I have so much to learn, a ridiculous amount to learn, but I have a lot under my belt, at least for like what I've done now. But the actors in this made it so easy. Like Harrison Marks, Charlie Ferrara, Kathy Richter, everybody just made it so easy for me to just like get there and just let everyone have their fun.
I love that. And that's what I was going to get into, casting this project. So you get finalized on the script, you get ready for pre-production, you get ready to cast these two leads that I have, as you see right behind me here. Talk to me about these two gentlemen that have to carry the weight of this film, and just going into production with all these people. So let's talk about these two guys right now.
I love them. I love them both. They're amazing. They're really great. It's funny. So Harrison Marks, who plays Tucker, we're not related. His last name is Marks, but also I grew up in Harrison, New York. And so I met with the cinematographer. Her name is Yulia Nestorova, and her boyfriend at the time, actually they're married now. Her boyfriend was Harrison Marks, and she said, "Oh, like, my boyfriend's an actor. You want to like meet with him, just like about like a potential role and not even this project?" I was like, "Sure, yeah." I'm just always trying to meet other people. I was a finance major, so all my friends are in hedge funds and in banks. It could be, yeah, that could work out later though. But no. So I met with him, and we just clicked right away. And Charlie Ferrara, we both went to University of Maryland together. We didn't know each other then. We met afterwards. And they both had the dark hair and like the dark eyebrows. And I was like, they could be Mesopotamian. Let's do it.
Okay.
So because technically they were born in Mesopotamia or whatever. But yeah, we just all clicked and we had a great time on set. It was like there was more jokes off camera than there were on, which was kind of annoying because I wish the camera was always rolling.
I feel that. Well, they were solid. I have to tell you. I've watched a lot of films in my time, a lot of indie films in my time, and I'm sure you probably seen your fair share as well as a filmmaker. Indie films can be very indie, and I have to give you props on this cast. I gotta say, and especially these two right here, these gentlemen carried the weight of the film. I was entertained. They had great chemistry, so props to you on that, because that from the script and from looking at this film, right, had to work. And so I think these two delivered. Props to you on that. Let's throw some other highlights to some of the other members of this cast, if you don't mind.
Oh, absolutely. So I met Kathy Richter, who plays Madame Evergreen, and we spent a lot of time together because like the way like the film was kind of worked was like I had like A scenes, I called them, B scenes, and C scenes, not in like A, B, C in order of importance, but A, B, C just for like groups. And so the A's were the Tucker and Ralph characters; those were the main plot line. And then the B scenes were all of Madame Evergreen scenes. So we had the crew of like the advisors, Madame Evergreen. And then the C scenes were Bill English. Who, oh man, I love Bill. He's got the big beard. And those are all of like his scenes, as well as the vice presidents and all, and the fat man, Mr. President. But the advisors we had so much fun with. We would have this like kind of castle to ourselves. We shot at Manhattanville College, and they had like this big castle, and they let us just literally run wild. They gave me like 2 weeks to just do whatever at night. And so it was, I'm really thankful for a lot of, adult and true actors who want to come and work with me, come like an hour out of their way to come shoot. And that meant a lot. And that also gave me confidence to be like, okay, like I'm doing something, so let's do it. And then we would get there and I think I was more strict with the adult actors because I wanted them to feel like I was like a real professional as well, because I come across kind of I'm young and I like to have fun and I still go out on the weekends and it's
but you want that respect a little bit there, and that what the hell you're doing and why you came here to do this and
and so I laughed a lot after we were done shooting. But during shooting, I would I wouldn't say a lot, like if anything was good or bad. I kind of like pulled out like my pseudo Kubrick and just like do it again. And then I was like, okay. And now we all smiled and got pizza after. But it was great.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. So we touched upon a little bit, of actual production now. So we were in pre, like I said, we got into some of the cast. Let's talk a little bit about the crew. Let's show some crew love to your DP that you spoke on a little bit, and any other members. And then just, like you said, we talked a little bit about production. Where did we shoot this? How long did it take? Let's just talk about, the ins and outs of film production and making this thing happen.
So Yulia, who is the DP, cinematographer, she's incredible. She completely opened my eyes to how good a movie can look and like feel if you actually understand the equipment. And so I learned a ton from her. She's a few years older than I am, and we hit it off right off the bat. She was actually like the first person I spoke to about the project while we were still in like super infancy stages of like, it wasn't even finished. I kept saying to her, I remember I was like, because I really wanted her to work on the project as well as Harrison. And so I was like, oh, like I'll get you the script next week. And the script wasn't near finished. And so I was like just typing every night because I really wanted them to work on the project. And so we filmed. She was on set every day, and my girlfriend was on set every day as well too. She was my production manager. Her name is Michaela, and she went out of her way to always come to shoot, just to, even if it was just to move the lights, move the mic. Because listen, an indie film project, even if you have financing, you're rolling with the punches. You're guerrilla filmmaking. If someone's, it's like Rudy Ray Moore, or it's like Eddie Murphy when he plays Rudy Ray Moore. He goes, if someone's going to make the sandwiches, then I'm making the fucking sandwiches. And that's literally what happened. If somebody needed to get picked up from the train station, I went to go pick them up from the train station. It was the biggest production I've done so far, but it still had all those indie qualities that made it such like a family. And I'd say we shot it in about 10 weeks. Over Tuesdays and Thursdays were at Manhattanville College with the B scenes, and Friday, Saturday, Sunday with the A team, Tucker and Ralph. But the crew was there. The crew was there the whole time. And the main of the crew was honestly me, Michaela, and Yulia. That was it. And then we had some part-time cinematographers come in as well. This guy, Ego, came a few times. And listen, we did whatever we could and put 110% into it. And that's lucky, because a lot of independent filmmakers, I've seen this before too, a lot of independent filmmakers struggle with getting people to, or rallying an energy to get people to be magnetized to the project. And listen, that worked out. And when that works out, you can focus on the film itself, and it makes it that much better.
Completely agree. Let's give another shout out to Michaela, to Yulia, that support system that, I know also well. If not for that support system, we couldn't do it. So props to everybody on your team, man.
It is impossible to do it without a support system. It is a team sport, I might be the point guard, but what the hell is the point guard going to do against another 5-man team?
Yeah. Jordan wasn't nothing without Pippen. Or well, exactly. No, you're a New York cat. So maybe Mark, who was it that was helping Ewing? I can't remember. I don't know what team you are. The Knicks.
I'm a movie guy.
Okay. All right. Well, you shot this during the pandemic. What was that like? And did that affect the film at all?
I don't know if I can actually say a lot of this. We didn't follow any rules. Inherently the script is rebellious, and I figured that I would need to be just as rebellious to do it. And we didn't wear masks on set, I guess. But we were all friends at the time too, and so it became like something that was professional. It always stayed professional, but it also became like something very familiar. And it became so in our blood to, like, on the weekends and on the Tuesday, on the Thursdays, everyone got up and basically went to work, and it was sick. And that's what I've always wanted, because a lot of my earlier films were a lot of me and my friends, literally my friends getting together and, shooting a movie. But this was the first time where it had such a sense of work that I was in love with it too, because I've always wanted this filmmaking to feel like work. I definitely went off the point of the question. What was the question?
Oh no, filming in COVID times. But I would think that from most of my other friends, and myself included, that when you're making a film, you're pretty much staying in the same bubble anyway. So that kind of helps things in a way because we were masked, unmasked.
I also had COVID 4 times by then.
Oh shit.
So I'm like a COVID magnet. I don't know what it was. I don't know how it came down, but so I had it 4 times, and then I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna keep doing it. If I get it a 5th time's a charm. 6 times, whatever. It was so, and so that was kind of it. But yeah, it was tough to film during COVID because a lot of extras were more cautious about it. So I had to, whenever we had somebody who was more cautious, so just be respectful about the cautiousness, it just, make them feel comfortable. And if they were super uncomfortable and they couldn't do it, there's no hard feelings, it's work, it's business. That's the way it has to be at a certain point. So yeah, All right. It was good. It wasn't detrimental.
No worries. We've learned a lot as filmmakers, I would say, during this time and what we had to do to prepare for those incidences where that would occur. So I was just curious how that affected at all with the production. When somebody gets infected. Well, you said you did did you get infected during that time? So like, were you out of the picture and had to like rely on the rest of the team to like pull the work or?
I was blessed, half blessed, because I did get it a few times, but right before and right after.
Okay.
Nothing in the middle. Because we shot over like 8 to 12. I forget how long it really took. It took shorter than I expected, but it took shorter than everyone else was expecting, but on time for me because everyone was like, there's no way we're going to shoot this long. There's no way. I was like, I'm telling you, let's just stay healthy. Let's show up and let's do it. And we were like, okay. And we did it.
Awesome. All right. So we're in production. We've got all our actors. We've got all our sets. We've got all our locations, which is half the battle as well, especially how elaborate a script can be. Talk to me about, what maybe did or not make it because of locations or just everything, or did everything make it? And like maybe having to cut it. Did you edit the piece as well?
I edited it. I edited it, and then but I didn't edit all of it. We had a color corrector and sound editor because sound for independent films could be a real hard, it could be a real tough one. I'm sure about how important sound is too, and when you don't capture it live, how hard it is to recreate it, And so like I had to do that a bunch too. Like luckily Charlie Ferrara, he doesn't live too far away from me. We're both New York based, and so I had him come through and we could like voice over some stuff, do some ADR. But besides that, that was kind of the hardest part. But wow, I forgot the question again. I get so in my head about the certain things.
Just working the production, just like moments that happen. Were there any like specific material that had to get cut or anything like that?
Yes. Okay. So the Chinese Supreme Leader, actually, he started out as the Chinese Supreme Leader. Now he's second in command. He had a grandson. We were gonna get like a young boy to play the grandson, but ultimately the mother wasn't comfortable because of the pandemic going on. So that was okay. Also, she thought it was a bit not on the nose. What's the word for it? It was a bit touchy for her like 5-year-old son to get involved in for his first project. And I said, you know what? You're probably right. But that had to be cut. But we added a bunch of stuff too, and then we took some stuff away. Either way, the film that is now was everything that it was meant to be, except for the grandson. And the grandson scenes were pretty funny though. Instead of him, the Supreme Leader, always talking to Madame Evergreen, he would be talking to his grandson about what he's doing and why it's important and all that. And at the end of it, it makes me think that like capitalism is great, communism's kind of great too in some ways. Everything's got so many good things, and it all comes down to a balance, and that's the key. Where I don't know if you've seen the end. Do you mind if I spoil it?
You can spoil it, yeah.
All right. Well, Tucker and Ralph get hung by QAnon at the end of the film. Okay. And so basically it's that the balance is off now because the balance in people is off. It's not systems. It's not anything like that. It's that people are off because of like what the system's created, or is it chicken or the egg? And it comes back to the first conversation they have, which is fascism causes paranoia, or does paranoia cause fascism? So it's the cyclical cycle. So it comes down to the people to be able to control their own emotions, control their own sense of opinions, and be able to maintain the balance within themselves and ultimately maintain the balance in society. Once the balance is undone, like the game of War, which they play, once the game ends, fucked. That's it. You know what I mean? And that's kind of the whole idea, was that it just came down to the people. And in the beginning of the film, it says a tragedy. Tragedy by Noah Marx is because that's what it is. It's meant to be like a Greek tragedy of ways, just in 2016 to 2020.
I noticed that. That did catch my attention when it started playing. So what I was getting at with all of that being said, like in production, making adjustments, certain scenes, that had to be cut or changed up. And like you said, you just kind of spoilers, hashtag spoilers, y'all. I think I'll add that to the credits as well in case they haven't seen it. Was that the original intention of the ending? Because again, as an indie film happens, and like you said, your first script one was a little bit different, then it got adjusted. Were there changes while in production that you had to make because of everything that was going on?
No, I start writing at the end. So the endings for all of my scripts so far, even like the next like 2 projects I hope to be, that I really want to make happen soon. I want to take my time with him though and all that, so not soon enough. But I always start with the end. The end always is the same. It's always the beginning that changes. The middle ever so slightly changes. The late middle is usually pretty much the same, and then the ending's always straight up like what I thought. I always knew that this one, Tucker and Ralph have to die, but they have to be lovable and they have to be smart. That was it. Those are my 3 things. They have to be lovable, smart, or they gotta go. So that was always the way, and I always knew it would be just like the way Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead. That film had to end too, where they are on the boat. They get blamed for everything that has happened to the whole during the whole Hamlet play, and they just say, see you in the next one, and they close their eyes like kind of comically. That's it. That's the end. And so I always knew that was it for sure.
I love that. There's always the destination for a lot of us, right? We get to the destination. How we get there, whether or not we use an old school map or Google Maps, the Navi, we at least know where we're going. So, I dig that.
All right. I know a lot of great writers and great film. I don't know them personally, but I know, some, actually, I mean, some people I do know, like personally, in ways where like they have the ideas for just like 3 great scenes, and they'll write the film or the show or whatever they're doing around those like 3 pivotal scenes, and like those scenes for them like evoke emotion. And that's pretty cool too. I wouldn't be opposed to like trying to approach something like that. Sometimes just like your own like intuition and instincts get in the way. But that could be interesting.
You know what? I'm happy you brought that up, because I have another conversation going on with another filmmaker friend. I think personally, that is good in certain ways, but I think that's a lot of Hollywood though right now. So like, for example, my friend and I have a discussion about Black Adam right now. Loved Black Adam. I kind of hated Black Adam, because to me it like, oh, we're going to take this from Black Panther. We're going to take this from every Rock movie, because it was straight up The Rock, but just like all this, that, and the third, and it was like a gumbo of, we have to have these moments and that's going to be a great film. Mm-hmm. It didn't work for me like that. I know what you mean. Some source material that was great. If they would have kind of stuck to that to a degree and then put their slant on it, would have been a better film. And maybe not cast The Rock, who's The Rock in everything. And I love The Rock, but he's The Rock in everything. So yeah, to me, that's a big problem with Hollywood right now in filmmaking. But I see your point as well,
Yeah, I mean, but it doesn't have to be like those. In a way, first of all, 100%. And second of all, it doesn't have to be like those like moments where like you need like that one Rock moment where he gets hit in the head and he's, or like what does he say the whole time in Black Adam? He's like, but I killed too. They're like, he's like, heroes don't kill, but I do. I'm like, cool. I'm like, sick. That I wish I was like that. But like not moments, but like scenes that like really evoke something out of you. Like, but I guess that's what like a great ending is in a way. Like Whiplash to me, like Damien Chazelle had to have that whole film just for that last 2 seconds. The whole thing is just do. They make eye contact, end. That's the moment that like I'm kind of
Great
Yeah,
film.
that's like the type of scene I'm like talking about, where it's like that kind of moment. It just happens to be the end there. So maybe I'll just stick with starting at the ends, and maybe one day we can have a whiplash.
No, I hear that. I hear it. I didn't want to mess you up because we always have to experiment as filmmakers. But yeah, I just think I like the moments that you were talking about to help you with beats and flow.
Yeah.
I think we should always be learning as creatives, as writers, as filmmakers to see what works and see what sticks. But yeah, I just think there's a lot of Hollywood though that are the financiers of the producer. Like, okay, we want this, that, and this. Now make that film, put all that in there without anything else.
It's
Like
the boxes. They're trying to check the boxes.
exactly checking boxes and stuff. Like, come on, man, come on.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's a ton of checking boxes, but I mean, because those big movies, like the tentpole movies, those are businesses. You know, you put 500 million into, you're like putting 500 million into a startup company. And if it's a series, then you can, create they have the iPhone 1. And then if that 500 million does really good, then you can have the iPhone 2 in 2 years, so those are 100% businesses. And, the directors, you got to give credit to a lot of those directors because most of them started out as like, indie filmmakers, and then they move on to something mid, and then they get put like a great script in front of them, but they have a lot of boxes they have to check. So think about like them juggling their artistic intent, what they really want to do, as well as the intent of so many others. Like that's got to be the hardest filmmaking job in the world. To like a Ryan Coogler doing Black Panther, like he did Fruitvale Station, like what a gem of a film. And then he has to like go do Black Panther, which was unbelievable. I love Black Panther, even though the CGI needed a little bit more work. You got to give him credit for being able to be able to pivot like that. So like he's an inspiration for sure. Like the way that you have to think about the business of filmmaking as well.
Completely agree. I feel it. All right, well, let's get back on track. I'm sorry to sidetrack you from the production film stuff, but I think
we're just flowing.
Nerds.
We're flowing.
So Dragon Eats Eagle, talking about moments. We're in production, as we said. We're in that area right now. What was the key? Was there a key scene for you or part of the scripts that I know, like for myself, when we get to this part of the script, like, so was there any part of that there was a lot of anticipation for you? And can we talk about that for the people that may have watched the film or getting ready to watch the film, so they can just see that moment? And what was that like for you?
Totally. I loved being able to film in a location that like felt very like grandiose in a way. And so like the castle in Manhattanville, every time we shot in Manhattanville college and we had like this big castle to ourselves, I just got so excited every time we were there, and like all I wanted to do was make the most of it. And so like the scenes with Mr. President, or they call him the Fat Man. There's like a bunch of characters in the film that I was super excited for them to get involved in. So like we have a Dr. Tony Fiasco, Dr. Fauci, basically, and so there's him, and then there was a Dr. Han Jin in the played by James Battisti. I was actually just talking to him before. And so there was each of these individual characters that Tucker and Ralph came across throughout the whole film. And I was always just excited to see how each one of them acted with Tucker and Ralph. So like Dr. Han Jin just hated the two. Dr. Fiasco was like a football coach to them. He comes out of the bathroom, he's taking a shit, and they're having this whole big meeting basically for like a hygienic, crisis about to go down. And they're just having the meeting in the bathroom, and he's eating and not washing his hands. It's like a football coach, like in a locker room. And then there's my character Jonesy, who they then don't like, and they think he's the idiot. So there's all these different. I was just always excited to see how Tucker and Ralph, the main two, worked with all of these other characters, because they were so funny to me and had such good chemistry. And once they clicked, I was like, oh, I can't wait to see what they do with this actor and that actor. And so I was always just excited. I never knew how it was going to go. Even though I read the script, I didn't know how it was going to go. And it was fun.
Awesome. I dig that. All right. So we're wrapping production. We're in post, putting it all together. That's where we actually make the film now, right? Tell me about that, and what was that like? Maybe like a biggest lesson learned into maybe did you do a small premiere for at least your cast crew before it launched out, which is now available, y'all. Let me put the promo back in there again. Available now, y'all. Make sure after you're done watching this interview, or if you want to hit pause, it's available right now on all digital platforms. Shout out to my man Noah Marks, Dragon Eats Eagle.
Thank you. Yes. So we had, first of all, everybody saw that it was a super transparent kind of way the film was coming together. So basically I was editing the entire time since the first day we shot. We shot the first scene in Chelsea, in Chelsea Market, underneath Chelsea Market, in this beautiful restaurant bar called the Tippler. The minute, and Yulia could probably say something about this. She says she's never met somebody who wrapped a full days of shooting and then went straight back to the desk and just began to edit, and then edit like through the night. And the next day I had a scene, the scene ready to go. Like, you know, not fully, not color corrected or anything like that, but like it was sequenced 100%. And I did that for every time we shot a scene. I would come back and just edit. So by the time we wrapped, the movie was kind of already all sequenced out, and all there was to do was, you know, not all there was to do. There was a lot to do. There was color correcting, there was sound editing, all that. But in terms of actual like structural and like organization, it was very well put together to begin with. So it didn't take as long to be able to sequence it out. And I knew that I wouldn't have, at the end of production, I wouldn't have like enough funds left, basically, that I didn't want to put into marketing and stuff like that to be able to get like an incredible editor. And so I did most of the work myself, and then, you know, delegated the stuff that I wasn't great at, because, you know, jack of all trades, master of none. You got to, you know, surround yourself with good people. You know, we send out scenes and sent out some like temp music here and there. Usually I make a lot of the music for the films. Like, I got my microphone here and stuff like that. And like I have like artists come in here, and, you know, I love music production with all my heart. Started with that. So it was just constantly like sculpting and just like kind of like adding on, taking away the whole time. And it took like maybe 10 weeks to like, maybe longer, maybe like 3 months to edit, actually, I would say. But by the time we were done shooting, it was put together pretty cohesively, I would say. So that's if an indie filmmaker has time to do that while they're shooting and like they can come back, I know it's tiring, but it makes such a difference when because it's fresh in your head. You know what moments you like.
Yeah.
And that takes a ton of like effort to be able to do. And, you know, I had a lot of Red Bull. I like to edit with years. It makes me think kind of like differently. I always say that 2 beers, if you write with 2 beers, and I'm not saying anybody should do this because that would be a bad influence. 1 beer is not enough. 2 beers is perfect because you have just enough bravery. Once you hit 3, you're going to overdo it.
I hear that, man. I hear that. So it stayed pretty much the same film then, because, you know, a film changes in the edit a little bit.
Okay, so this is where I wish I had more answers, because I honestly don't remember. Because what we have right now is like so embedded in my head.
Yeah.
I wish I can answer that question better, because I know for a fact, I know in my heart, there's maybe 2 or 3 scenes that completely changed, maybe, now that I'm thinking about it. And I can't tell you which there are, because I've spent so much time with this thing.
Yeah. You know? But you're happy with it. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, there's always going to be, well, I'm a perfectionist. I'll admit that, you know, and I'm sure you are as well, because the end product is representation of you, and you want it to be the best representation of you. So were you acceptive of the fact of what you put out, and what is your final feeling on this final film that we are all now seeing, and what was the feedback you got from your financier, everybody on the team, and again, did you have like a, you know, like a little premiere with your cast and crew, and some of the reaction from everybody involved?
So I told some of my cast and crew and a lot of my friends to not watch it yet, because I'm trying to just get. So the last film I did, we had a premiere. This film I did because we got like a PR company, you know, to work with it. And I learned from the last premiere because it was great. Like it was a great party in a way where like, you know, it would be great. And I wanted just for this one, because I really love this film. So yes, part one, I love this movie. And art is never finished. It's always just abandoned. It could always be better. I could always just try to go back and reshoot some stuff. At one point or another, you really got to put, you know, the nail in the coffin and be like, this is it. And I like it. You got to stand by it. I stand by all my stuff, even if I know in my heart, if like some things aren't as good as they could be, nobody else is going to know that. And, you know, you just got to stand by it. But in terms of a premiere, the premiere I did for my last film called My Frequency, it was a great party. We had a great time. It was such like a spectacular event. But for this one, fiscally, because I really wanted to put all the funds and effort into getting it out and getting exposure. I didn't want me to spend the funds that I had basically for me to feel good about myself, because I think a director shouldn't do that. A director could have an ego, of course, and could you know, always be like, oh, this is my film, but you're making it for the public and for the world. And so I always want to keep that in mind. And so for this one, I put all we could, you know, into marketing, into exposure, into getting it on as many platforms as possible, because I don't need to have a premiere for me. Maybe it's selfish to more like, you know, cast and crew, but they all know me and they all know I'm doing what's best for the project that we all put our hard work in. Sure, yeah, we can go, you know, have a party, have a couple beers, and it'll be great. We can do that together. Let's put the movie out in the world. Let's put all we got into it. Let it sit, let it settle, let it fry, let it boil. Boom. And then, so that was kind of my philosophy with this one. And like you know, like we've been talking about, it's all experimenting and see what happens. We could experiment in the film, and we could also experiment in the post process as well. What works, what doesn't. Tons of people have done it before. Let's do something different.
I love that, man. I feel you pushing yourself with the art, and you know, all them. It's unnecessary to do a premiere in a sense, but it's really for the team, you know, as well. So, but if the team agrees, and this is all going to help us together at the end of the day to create even more art, then I love that your team is riding with you, because it's so important, man, to believe.
That's the key.
Hell yeah.
That's the key, and it's all about just having good relationships too. Like if you come to like, there's tons of people like this where like, you know, people can be a dick and people can be mean and stuff. But if you're just there to have fun, like for me, the premiere was just making it in a way. And I feel like everyone feels the same way, is like, we had such a good time. That's the reward. And now that it's out in the world, like, you know, the job ain't done yet. And so if the job ain't done yet, deal's not a deal till it's a deal, then I'm going to keep working. And I'll expect that then I'm not going to do anything that I won't, you know, have anyone else do. So if I'm not celebrating, then I feel like I don't know, the work's not done. We're still marketing, you know, it's a business. And once you put the nail in the coffin on the artistic side, you have another goal, you know, get it out, exposure. And so that's the job right now. And but honestly, this is fun exposure. I'm having fun talking to you. This is great.
Hell yeah, dude. I love this self-motivation right now, and that forethought that you have right now in what you want to do with this. Props, bro. Props.
Thank you.
And I'm honored to help you on this journey. That's truly an honor. Really, that's a blessing, man. So
thank you.
All the power to you, man, and your whole team. I dig that. So with that being said, so snapshot of this moment. What are the vibes? What is the feeling right now of this moment? This now being out in the world. Dragon Eats Eagle, y'all, available right now. Make sure you go check it out. Of where our headspace is in to, you know, we're promoting it. What now, self-diagnosing everything, you know, you chose not to do the premiere. We're promoting this. You're talking with me. How do you feel about the choice right now, and maybe some of the reflections on the team at this very moment of how this is all going, and now to the future heading into the new year?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, for me, it's always smiles. Like I like to just always look at things through rose-colored goggles in a way. So like, it's basically at this point, it's such a feeling of relief that it's finally out, and it's you know, gonna kind of take shape of its own now, and like I kind of don't have as much control over it because I'm kind of a control freak in some ways. um it's a huge feeling of relief. I love it. When I finished editing and like finally like put it all into like a delivery package and everything. Yeah, I almost cried. I was like, because every project is such a big part of your life, and I've spent more time. The cast and crew have definitely spent less time with it now because I spent most of the time editing it as well. So like I had the extra. We wrapped and everyone hugged and had a great time, and we went out, we got some food, and we got some dinners. And we're all good friends still. And Harrison and Yulia went out to LA, and so it's like the end of a movie in a way, like that feeling of like an end of like almost like a not what's the movie, The Breakfast Club, and everyone
Okay.
goes their own way, and then at the end I feel like I'm the guy walking on the field that's finally out, and I'm the one to hit it with that. That's the snapshot right there.
Okay.
But yeah, we all feel great about it, and yeah, it's just smiles. Like whatever happens at this point. We put all our hard work into it, and that's all you can do. At one point you have to be able to let go of any sense of like ego or like mental connection you have to it. You can still ponder the memories and have a great time. I think my girlfriend hasn't even seen it yet, so we got to watch that together.
There you go. Christmas present or something, like make that happen.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I'm trying to get a screening right now going, just for like friends and family, whoever wants to come at this place in New York, just to have some fun, and that's it. And right now it's out of my control fully. So all I can do is just kind of hop on and talk about it. I happen to know the most about it right now. We'll see what happens.
There you go. Well, congrats to you again, brother. All this hard work, you put this time in, and it's all about now the world seeing the product. And so I'm excited for you to share this with everyone so they can see all this work you put in, man. Congrats again. So as we kind of said earlier too, we're about this life, right? We're about making this work. You chose to kind of get out of finance, right, and make these films. So it's always on to the next one now. So yeah. Obviously we're promoting Dragon Eats Eagle, available right now, y'all. Again, go check it out on all digital platforms. But what's next for Noah Marks? What are we working on that you can talk about without, we don't want to put everything out there. We want to keep some things hidden. But tell me what you got planned up, or what you want to maybe do down the road with this.
Like I said, I love sci-fi. I love fantasy. And I've been talking with a lot of virtual effects artists, Unreal Engine, Blender, talking to some people. So basically I know the last movie I'm gonna make. And I know how to get there. I don't know how to get there, but I know where I gotta go. So like how I say I like to write the ending?
Yeah. I
wrote the ending to the journey, and I'm about to take the next step into getting to that place in a way. And so I have films that I've been working on for an enormous period of time. They're not even films. They're kind of just like ramblings, but I've collected all of them. And we're going to step into the genre that I've always felt like I was meant for.
Man.
And I'm ready for it. We're really gonna make it happen, and I'm super excited. I've been learning a ton about stuff that I didn't even know existed. Like I don't know, the stuff like in terms of filmmaking itself. For the stuff that's actually in the film itself, I don't yet know what it is because it just doesn't exist. I'm trying to make sense of it in a way. But yeah, we're gonna do it. It's so sci-fi, fantasy, epic, for a very low budget.
Well, that's exciting, man. Congrats. I love to see that. And when you have this love affair with what we do, and you can do what you love, that's everything. So congrats. So writing, directing, producing again, and maybe acting a little bit in the next one.
I can't act anymore.
So Jonesy's it.
No, I still got the mustache. We might do a spin-off. No. Okay. No, I'm not. But no, Jonesy. I love Rich Jonesy. A lot of people don't like him just because they're like, he has no reason to be in the plot except for a plot device. I was like, hey, but guess what? First of all, I had an actor supposed to play Jonesy, and they couldn't do it, and so I got this mustache. And what's funny about him is that he's a truth seeker, right? He's a truth seeker. but he wears a clearly fake mustache, so he's just a walking paradox. So like I just thought that was kind of funny. I don't know, but no, I don't really want to act anymore. I definitely want to write and direct and produce. Obviously, I feel like that kind of goes within if you're going to do both of those. But 100%. But I don't want to act anymore for now, at least until something I write is kind of meant for it. But at one point or another, like when you're on set and you're trying to act as well as direct, it's too much. You can't do anything. You're like,
it's a lot of hats. It's a lot of hats.
And my mustache was sweating. I had to re-glue it and stuff. My friend told me the funniest thing. My friend Jack said the funniest thing, if I was like talking and like going like crazy or something and it just started to fly off, that would be kind of funny.
I hear that. So sci-fi projects for the next one of your own IP. Are there any other IPs that, if some studios come and knocking and want to holler at Noah Marks, is there anything out there that you'd like to tackle?
I learned with this last one, because I didn't like politics at all. I actually hate politics. Hence the movie. But it's necessary and you need it. But I learned that I could fall in love with something of my choosing. I learned to love learning about it. I learned to love learning about history. I thought, I love sci-fi. I've always been like about how do teleporters work. But I learned that there's nothing that I can't learn. There's a lot of things I can't do yet, but into doing, you got to learn.
I feel that.
We'll start with learning first. So that's my next thing.
Got it. Okay. I'll take that as an answer.
If you want to know about like studios and stuff,
if there was a particular studio or just maybe an IP that you kind of would like to touch.
Oh, I mean, I could save Marvel. I could save Marvel if they ask me. 100%.
Marvel needs saving? I would think DC needs saving.
Well, now DC's about to be saved.
Yes, I will. Yes, DC's about to be saved. Yeah,
DC's about to be saved. I don't know. Disney's having some tough times over there. Listen, they're a small independent company. Probably not a lot of funding over there. If they need some minds to make sure that how to make a number go a long way, just do you can give them my number or something. But it's no. I mean, listen, I love Marvel movies. I mean, I grew up with that stuff. It's the best. But I fear for their future sometimes, because I get scared in some ways that like some IPs try to go, and it's important. It's not important. Like, first of all, they're geniuses, right? The strategies are out of this world and all that. But sometimes when politics get involved in certain facets of art, it becomes blinding. And that's kind of like that part in Dragon Eats Eagle when Tucker and Ralph are like, oh, like the political cock waving. If something's commissioned by the Medicis and you just have a big Medici man holding his cock out, then, you kind of get in the way of the beautiful artistic side of it. So it's a balance. And so I don't know. But yeah, give him my number. Let's do that.
All right, my brother. It's been a great time talking with you, Noah. I think I could talk with you on a myriad of subjects. Let me close out. Again, this was a pleasure, and I want to invite you back with that next project or anything you have coming up creatively. Let's come out and chat again. It'd be an honor and a pleasure. But I like to close out with another nerd question, because this is Nerds Rule the World, the NRW. If you were to give a TED Talk on a particular subject, and it doesn't have to be, your traditional nerdy pop culture thing. It could be about politics, which I know you don't like. It could be about tax law, which I've had. That was something somebody mentioned. They're like, I could talk all about tax law. What would it be about? What is something you're super nerdy about, super passionate about, that not too many people know about you? And it can't be the obvious that we've discussed this whole time. Can't be about film, can't be about music. It has to be something no one really knows, that maybe something you recently got into and you really dived into it and knew and just got all the info about it, and you can just give a TED Talk on it. What would that be? I
am a nerd for a lot of things. I actually learned today that the word nerd was coined by Dr. Seuss. I didn't know that. I'm telling you.
Wow. Okay. Now I'm learning something new. Now I'm going to have to look that up.
That's my TED Talk. No, but no, I love all facets of philosophy. I think I could talk for days about different like philosophical outlooks from like all the guys people study, you know, Schopenhauer, Camus, Nietzsche, all those guys. I love that. But the one that really sticks with me always is the book Thus Spoke Zarathustra by Friedrich Nietzsche. That book could save the world. It exists, so it should save the world, but it doesn't. Everybody, if anybody wants to hear about why Thus Spoke is so beautiful, let me know. I could talk about that book all day long.
Okay.
It's some dude comes down from a mountain and he says that humans are on a tightrope. We are the tightrope in a way, and that we have, you know, there's one way to go and to the light, or there's one way back, and that's kind of where we are now as like a civilization. And then we have one choice to become the overman. He said the Ubermensch. I don't know. I can go on forever about it. But
no, I've always been curious about that particular author writer, Nietzsche.
Yeah.
But don't know too much. So now I know if I need to go talk to somebody that can talk all about Nietzsche, I'll hit you up, Noah.
That's my TED Talk. That's my thing. Not tax law. My friend is.
All right. Well, Noah Marks, y'all, make sure you go check out Dragon Eats Eagle, available right now on all digital platforms. I'm going to put the description, the links in the description below, y'all. So make sure you go click there, subscribe, follow, do all the love there. But for those that might be driving right now, Noah, because I have a lot of people that listen to my interviews while they're commuting here in the DC area that you used to inhabit when you used to go to UMD.
That's my place.
For those that are driving, that have that great memory, can you leave out with some of your socials and any other last comments before we leave out, so people can, my fans that are now going to be your fans, can follow and support you in everything you do?
First of all, thank you so much for having me on. This was like such a free flowing conversation. This was an amazing time. So Noah Marks. My like socials pretty much on like YouTube and Instagram, which are like my main ones. I go by Noah's Ark Creative. So like at Noah's Ark Creative. My production company is Ark Creative, which is, you know, super creative, hence my name Noah. I don't know. And now that I think about it, it's not that creative. But at Noah's Ark Creative, that's me. My new film Dragon Eats Eagle just came out. I'm super excited about it. Super stoked to be on this interview, and I hope everybody has a freaking great day. Seriously. I love this. This is great.
All right, y'all. There you go. Noah Marks. Show them all the love. I'll have all the links in the description below if you're driving. But those that remembered that right now, make sure you go check that out. Once you get home, you're in a safe place. Check out Dragon Eats Eagle, available right now. And then show him all the love and follow so you can see that sci-fi film, everything he has coming up soon. It's your boy Kuya P. This is Nerds Rule the World.